Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back, baby. What up, Coach?
Man, it feels good to be back, Pooh. I'm excited for this one. Got some big time names rolling in, Pooh. Let's go, baby.
Man, we have a very, very special show. Tonight we have two great coaches on our show. One is at a newly built high school,
Oh yeah.
out in New Rochelle, and the other is from one of the top powerhouse high schools in the country.
Mm.
Woo! You know it's gonna be special, man. You know it's gonna be special. You ready, Coach?
Let's do it, man.
Let's go. Season 3, Coach. Season 3, baby. Season 3. You see, I kind of spiced it up the intro a little bit. It's a little longer, but we had to, we got to keep adding on, man. Take some stuff out, whatever. But I think it's dope, man. Always gets me hyped, man.
Me too.
Yo, my phone hasn't stopped ringing. DMs coming in. People tell me that they're moving. So many moving pieces going on in the city right now. It is absolutely bonkers.
The portal is swirling as school is starting up, man. I mean, new names dropping every day. People tagging me and stuff. It's hard to even keep up, Pooh. It's been crazy.
It's been crazy. It's been crazy. Well, welcome to High School Basketball Weekly. I am your host, Glenn Pooh Harding. Always here with my partner,
Brian Reichert.
Y'all know what it is. Hey, like I told you, we got two special guests on tonight. Our first guest is from the Cross Trainers Christian Academy, a new amazing state-of-the-art school located in New Rochelle. Let's find out what's going on. Please welcome our first guest, Coach Andre Faison. Coach, what's happening?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, I am doing awesome, man. I'm doing awesome, man. Just considering some things that is happening on the personal side, but on the basketball side, man, it's been amazing. A lot of new things going on in the city, outside of the city. I think New York as a whole is growing, right? And we're catching up with the times and what's going on around the country. And this is why I wanted to bring you on, because you're doing something amazing, and what you got going on up in New Rochelle, man. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely, and I hope Pooh. I hope you're cool with me starting it off. But
Go ahead. Yep.
Coach, tell us how this whole thing kind of started, and when it was first kind of pitched to you, this idea of the Cross Trainers Academy.
Well, as you guys know, basketball is transitioning into a whole different atmosphere now. New York is the mecca of basketball. As you know, traditional schools, public schools, Catholic schools, they've been around, since ever. But now we're going into which is more of basketball academies, where guys are going to schools like a trade school. When you go to a school, you learn a trade. It's something that you do for the rest of your life. So it's kind of that's what's transitioning into basketball right now as far as schools. Guys go to school. So we're in new school, a brand new school. We're not a school that we don't have classrooms where kids are in there all day, faculty, staff. We're 100% hybrid online learning school. Our school is we got one of the top educational online programs in the country, which is sponsored by the NBA. So, they back our academic standards for all classes, any subject you possibly could think about. And it's an accredited school for kids that leave our school and go on to Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCO, and so forth.
Nah, that's awesome, man. I don't know if you caught what Kendrick Perkins was talking about on their podcast, and they was talking about how, like, if kids are going to public school nowadays, it's actually setting them back because of what the rest of the country is doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And of course, like you mentioned, New York, we all know about the public school, Catholic school situation, and trying to get our kids to the next level, man. But definitely interested in hearing more what you got going on, man. But first of all, man, tell people where you from, man, and let's get to know you a little bit.
I'm from the Bronx, New York. I'm born and raised in New York. I got history here in the city. The Mecca, as you say, the Mecca. I'm from the Mecca.
That's a fact.
I went to Rice High School. I played for Riverside Church, historical program back in the days. I coached at Iona Prep. I coached at Mount St. Michael's. I used to coach Sports U in Jersey. So, I'm basketball, Castle Athletics here in the city. So, I'm basketball 101. I'm not a guy that's new to the scene. This is not something that I just came in and just try to, get in the way of what traditional happens here in New York City. I just wanted to bring another edge to what actually happened. Because like you said, if you did see the Kendrick Perkins show, Kendrick Perkins was talking about how basketball is transitioning. One of the most important things with a lot of schools what hurts kids' recruitment process is that they don't play a national schedule. So it's hard for coaches that's coming in to see kids play in a natural position. So if you go to certain schools, you can see they might be, might have one or two players that may be really good, but they may be undersized. So it's like, it don't give you the opportunity to see a kid play in his natural position where he may go to college and play the 1 or the 2, but he go to certain schools, he's playing the 3, the 4, the 5, because of the lack of size. So it gives a forced environment of actually what the kid may be able to bring to the table. So all we trying to do here at our schools, like we said, is high level basketball. What we doing is no different than what you see at IMG, Mount Verde, some of these top schools in the country. They're actually basketball academies too, but they have an educational component. So, we just want to give guys the opportunity to showcase their talent platform and give them a platform to do it. That's what's going to help them get to the next level, especially for their recruiting. AAU gets a lot of credit for a lot of the guys, the schools that they actually get, because high school coaches and recruiters really don't get to see all these high school games. They don't go out to these schools. But also in school, now that schools have live periods, one of the most important things is to showcase the talent, put the kids in front of the coaches so they can get the opportunities that's presented to them.
Coach, I love that goal, and man, it would be so awesome to have one of those powerhouse academies right here in New Rochelle. But give us some inside, give us an inside look. You get hired. What are some of the first steps you do right when you take over the program to try and get this thing going in the right direction?
I mean, it's the student body. One of the most important things is your team, the structure around the team, putting the right pieces together. It's not going out looking for a bunch of 5-star players, a bunch of 4-star players. It's looking for guys that fit the mold of what you're trying to do. Guys that's coachable, diamonds in the rough. That's what I love. I love those guys that's under the radar that people maybe underlook, that want an opportunity to play a national schedule, but never had the opportunity because they don't go to one of those type of schools. So to be able to show that they on that platform that these kids can play on that level, it only opens up the doors and more opportunity for them as far as schools is concerned on their recruiting. So, when we put this thing together, I got to have a general. Every team, you need to have guards. You need to have, good guard play. The bigs, the games are transitioning. It's not like bigs are post up and doing all the big things. You can have size and, you know, speed to run you off the floor. So it's just trying to know how to make those elements work to build your team.
How did you get involved with the school? Like, and how does this all come about? Like, let's talk about this, because let me tell you, if I didn't know any better, I would think that this school is in the middle of Midtown Manhattan.
Well, right. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. So I'm an EYBL director on a Nike circuit. I work for Kenny the Jet Smith. His program is Jet Academy in Atlanta. I'm the middle school director. This year, I also took over and was coaching the 17U team in Session 4 EYBL, and they didn't qualify for Peace Jam, but I actually coached them in the PIT. This was always a trend of trying to start something new. I was a teacher in the school. I taught in the school as well, academics. And you kind of see, you know, the kids are in the classroom from 8 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And after school, they only get maybe 2 hours in the gym, if that, if they're not sharing the gym with 4 other teams in the school, or, you know, volleyball during that basketball season, you know, and it's hard sometimes to get the best out of the kids because you're not having more time to work on your craft. Anything you want to get good at, you need the time to put into that. Me being a teacher, I know in classrooms, the kids get 45 minutes to do a class in their lessons, right? That's not enough time to actually teach a kid anything in 45 minutes. Am I correct?
Correct.
In 45 minutes, you know, by the time you get the class inside, they settle, they're sitting down.
It goes by like that.
By like this. And then you want kids to be able to retain information as well, know what they're learning, you're teaching them. And if you can't do that, you know, on Friday, if you're giving them a test and you ask the kid what they learned, they couldn't even tell you. One is because, you know, they're in the class all day, dragged out. So colleges do English 1. If you take college classes, right, you do that 8 weeks, pass the class, move on to your next subject. If you fail, you take it another 8 weeks. That's kind of how the preparation is with a lot of these schools, especially to get kids eligible within 1 year. You could take a kid transcript that hasn't done good in his classes and get him on the right track. And how you get him on the right track is that's how you do it. You know, you get the kid in the classroom, he passed English 1, he go on to English 2. He passed English 2, he go on to English 3. So you get all his Common Core classes out of the way, because that's the most important thing. Our job is to get these kids into college. But we got to keep them on path. Majority of the time is spent in the classroom. And, you know, if you take the time to just say you buckle down and do these assignments, you do this work, you know, you're in a safe haven, you got the time and access to do your work. So now you could go, you know, study your craft and get out in the basketball world and work is twice as hard because, you know, you got your work done.
Coach, are players able to prep at your school or no?
Yes, because we're not in a league or a conference, but what we did this year is we made a national team up in New Rochelle.
Yeah.
That's all considered only high school eligible kids that play on our national team in New Rochelle. We also have another location in Atlanta, Georgia. In Atlanta, Georgia, we're going to do post-grad in a regional team. So we give guys the opportunity of playing that don't have schools, and guys that still got high school eligibility to play up and get some bump. But they will play against other teams in their conference that has the same thing, post-grad or regional teams as well.
Excellent. And then, Coach, what's like the goal? Do you have like any goals, any real hopes, like with your schedule for the first year? I mean, obviously, I know it's tough. First year, you got to figure everything out. What's like your goal or dream to get that schedule as good as you can make it?
Get those kids on the dance floor. And I mean, get them on the dance floor, get them in front of the top schools, get them in front of the recruiters. It's not about overall wins and losses. It's about the opportunity that the kids get out of this. That's the most important thing. I came in here with a goal and an idea to say, even if I lost every game on my schedule, if I got 5 kids in the college, I did my job because I put them on a platform to be able to showcase their talent. Before I actually started coaching on the on the EYBL circuit this year with Jet Academy and took over the 17U team, I started a team on the May Hoop circuit. I got 5 kids on my team that all got into college, and I just got them in April. So that's a goal. Those kids didn't have no options. They didn't know where they was going to school at. They didn't know what the future hold. But, they believe, all they needed was a platform. And 90% of the kids that's out here playing basketball, that's all they need. They just need somewhere to showcase their talent. I beat 1 or 2 of those teams on my schedules that might be top in the country, have a top 5 kid, top 25 kid. It does great things for our program. It shows that we're working towards the future. And we can make some change in the basketball world and be considered one of the top schools or programs in the country.
Love that.
Why is this academy so important to the New York landscape?
Because it's something that we don't have. Outside of New York, like I love New York. I love my city. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to come back and be able to offer something new and more opportunity. It's not something that's for everybody. Everybody don't understand it. It's something, like we said, it's an academy. It's a basketball school. It's something to actually give kids the opportunity to focus more on their craft as what we see things are going to. And it's not to take anything away from education. Education is key. You can't play nowhere without grades. You're not going to get in no school. You're not going to get anywhere. But also what New York City has happening, like I come from an era and I played in New York City. I don't want to go back into a time capsule, but when I played back in the era, New York City Capital School was the top league in the country. Hands down. College coaches came to every school. I don't care what school you went to. If you was in that conference, from the first person to the 12th person on your roster got opportunities to go to college. Whether if it was, guys that played 2 minutes a game, they got Division I offers. That's how it was because the talent was up. And you've seen it take a decline over the years. And it's not to take nothing away from the game of basketball. It's just to show that, sometimes college coaches are looking at prospects. So what they see in prospects is totally different than what we have at some of our schools. But, the opportunity was there. And I want to be able to recreate that. I want to be able to say we got prospects here in New York City. We don't just have kids that can play. There's prospects. And as you see over the years, the last couple of years in the tri-state area, we had a number of guards that came out of the city that's putting the world on notice. And they continue to do that because we develop here. Not like a lot of places, they play off pure talent, but we develop here. And that's the most important thing.
And Coach, talk about, you mentioned your time with the Jet Academy, and I saw you on the circuit. I know my guy's been doing great stuff with that. Talk about your time, too, at Castle, because it's always the program that kind of flies under the radar, but has a ton of great kids, and you guys have sent a ton of kids to college. Talk about your time at Castle and how that's kind of made you a better coach and helped you kind of on this journey.
It's a funny story that you asked that. I was coaching Sports U in Jersey, and God bless my guy Brian Coleman. He passed away from cancer last. I was coaching Elliot Cador, Tahar, Aaron Bradshaw. I was the first guy that brought those guys to the city to play basketball. It was Jersey kids, coaching over Jersey. And when Brian got sick, we kind of like pivot back because, he was having health issues. And he was like, I'm going to be able to continue. I need to get my health right, so, you guys, do what you got to do. And, we'll get back and figure it out. So when I came over to Castle, I came over in April. I got offered a job at Riverside. Danny Colon offered me a job to come to Riverside to coach with my team. I was a great coach. I had talent, also recruiting players. But, I sat down and met with Danny, and I said, Danny, I would love to come over to Riverside, but I don't want to come mid-season. I think it's something maybe we can visit at the end of the season. It's over, the top of the year. He also had a talented team in my age group and grade as well. So I didn't want to, cause any confusions with that, bringing guys over and trying to determine what kids want to play on what team. So I went to Castle, and the opportunity came to me to bring my whole team over to Castle. And when I got over to Castle, I had a schedule of 15 tournaments. I won 12 out of the 15 tournaments at Castle when I got there. So when I won the first tournament, they was like, oh, okay, yeah, they won.
Yeah.
They won a tournament. Then they was like, oh, they won again. It was like, yeah. Then when we won the third one, they was like, who are these guys? Where these guys come from? Like, are these guys the right age? Check their birth. Make sure these guys are the right grade. And the questions were, where you get these kids from? I said, I developed them.
Yeah.
You know, I have kids that I developed and brought into the program that actually stood out. Like I said, I love those diamonds in the roughs. I love those kids that's different. They come in with the mentality that want to work and get better, not worrying about who's the best kid in the class or who's national ranked. Just coming in with a chip on their shoulder, wanting to work hard. You know, and that transformed into those guys starting to believe, have confidence and faith in each other that they could play against anybody. And it transitions into them winning and beating a lot of teams. We won 12 out of 15 tournaments. The 3 tournaments we lost in. We lost 1 championship game and 2 semi. So out of 15 tournaments that year with Castle, I won 12 out of 15. So after the year was over, you know, I revisited, evaluated, you know, what was the best situation for me and the kids and try to get them in the best situation. You know, Brian Coleman, I love all my guys at Castle, Gandhi, and the guys, you know, accepted me with open arms to come over there. At the time, Rudy King was there. What's my guy name? Got mine is going blank. Director over there now. But you know, the opportunity revisited with Riverside. You know, Riverside was a special place for me because I played there as a kid. You know, I played Young Life, and after Young Life, I went over to Riverside, and I was at Riverside all the way through my, you know, from my childhood years to my high school years. And you know, it was a special place for me. So be able to come back, you know, it was tradition.
No doubt, no doubt. Is the Castle director is Rock Rose?
No, at the time, Brian Coleman,
when you was there, I got you. Okay.
Brian was the owner, but Gandhi was running the program. What's my guy man? Jesse Sapp.
Okay. Yeah.
Rudy King.
Yeah.
A couple of those guys was there when I was at Castle. And I forgot to mention my guy, Coach Khalif. Coach Khalif coached with me with Metro Flyers. That was one of my guys.
Khalif Hill? That's Khalif Hill?
Khalif, that's at I think he was at Kennedy.
Okay.
Khalif, that's one of my guys. He used to coach the Harlem Jets.
Got you.
With the Harlem, Elijah Wynn and JoJo and those guys. He had his son Majesty that played at Brooklyn Collegiate. We coached together with Metro Flyers, and that was my guy. He knew I had a nice kids that played along. He reached out to me and was like, you know, Coach, what do you think about coming over to Castle? And, you know, I came and met with the guys, you know, felt great. It's organic for me, and we made it happen.
Like, what does recruiting look like for you guys, and where do most of your players come from? Like, do y'all have like a housing situation, or what's the setup there at the academy?
Well, our school, like I said, our school is at 500 Main Street. It's actually right 2 blocks from Monroe College.
Yeah, let me this is every time I show people this, like, people lose their minds when I send them the link to check out the school. This is crazy. Look at the building that it's in. Now, is the school on the bottom?
Yes, the bottom floor is the gymnasium. On the second floor of the building over the gym is the whole school. The whole second floor is the school. That whole floor is the school.
Wow, that whole floor. And this is a peek at the gym.
Yes,
right here.
Pick of the gym, inside the gym. You see some pictures of the gym inside. And we also have a church there. Our church is New York Covenant Church.
Yes, I see it. Yep, I see it. Yep, Covenant. Yep, church. New York Covenant Church. So now, okay, so now how do y'all work that? Because people will say this is some like a Catholic school, right? Like, how does that work?
Well, the school it's a Christian school.
Okay. Yeah.
School, and it's a Christian church. So New York Covenant Church, they use the school building for their church service. That's where the congregation is. They have the congregation in our gym. Sometimes you will see our gym just regular, and then it'll be transformed into the church, because that's where they actually hold church at, inside the building as well. So that building is our church. We have above, as you can see, the high rise.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
You see the building above is the high rises. So, and that building is where we will house kids for our program.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So, it's a second to none experience. Like I said, it's not something that's for everybody, but it's special. And like you said, we just wanted to bring something different to the tri-state area here up in New York, and be able to show that, we're changing things, and we're the future, and we're moving with times.
And now, Coach, is your roster full? Are you still trying to add some pieces? Are you all done? And if you are done, could you highlight a couple maybe guys you're excited about?
Yeah, I'm really excited. The recruiting process never ends.
Yeah.
You have kids today, tomorrow kids will be gone, but it's part of the game. So you don't take offense to any of that. I have some kids that's coming from. I have a 6'11" kid from France, Hugo. He's considered maybe a NBA lottery pick, they say, next year's draft. I have a 6'7" kid from Detroit, Michigan, Isaiah Guyton. We have talent. We got a bunch of guys, and then we got some developmental guys, some filling guys, some guys that's up and coming, who I feel that benefit from this opportunity of playing high level basketball and competing. I'm one of those coaches, names don't matter to me. It's more of what we do as a unit. I feel any day it could be somebody else's day. If you're playing good, it's your game. We won't go away from what's working to please other people. If we see that's the game plan, and you got something going, we're going to stick to that. And guys understand that. And, I think that's what really makes your program, more than just having individual names and spotlights, because, as we know, you can have a bunch of names on your roster and it don't gel. Everybody's unhappy, and you're just not having the success you can have, but you have all the talent. And, that tends to be an issue at times.
Was the kid Hugo at the top 100 camp?
I'm not sure.
France, there was a kid that actually there's a couple of kids for France, but one kind of stood out, and he had a whole lot of game. He's about 6'10", 6'11". Yeah.
As you guys may know, the game is transitioning, because before 6'11" means you're a big man.
Yeah.
No, this kid can handle. He can shoot.
Handle. You see, and see, that's the difference of what we call prospects. A prospect is somebody that could do a little bit of everything. Because you big don't mean you can't pause. You can't handle the basketball. You can't shoot. You can't make plays for others. That don't mean we're gonna stick you down on the box pause and have you box it out and doing all the things you want to do. And you gotta excuse me, because I be around kids all day.
Trust me. Because if you didn't say it, I was gonna say it. Luckily,
Coach's ready to go. So don't worry, Coach.
They be like, "Yo, coach, hey, yo, coach."
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Fun facts with the kids. But like you said, the game is transitioning. And the bigs could be able to do a little bit of everything. They stretch the floor, they hit threes, high posts, angles. They handle the ball, make plays for others. So that's more what the game is going to. So it's positionless basketball now. So you don't matter whatever your role is, or whatever the coach trusts you to be able to do, you do it. I love bigs. I would let bigs get the rebound and start the break. I'm not one of those coaches that think guards go to the ball all the time. Yeah, you can go to the ball, but if the big can get the basketball and we can get out and transition, we make the game much easier instead of you coming to the ball, because you quicker, you get up the floor. Everybody's going to draw to the defense. Once the ball starts to move, it makes the game easy.
Now that's tough right there. I see that you guys got a down with Nike, and I see the Scholastic League. Is it the goal to be a part of the Scholastic League that's going
Yes,
on?
that's definitely a goal. As you can see, we non-conference. We're not
Mm-hmm.
league conference this year, but if you see our schedule, we probably got one of the best schedules in the country. And the reason we did that's based off relationships. Not only great relationships, is putting the kids on a platform, a major platform. I sent some people my schedule, and the first thing they said to me was, "This your first year? You got a schedule like this?" I said, "Yeah." Why would you not want to play a schedule like this your first year? You know, again, our season is not based off of wins and losses. We're not playing for a championship. We're not playing for because it's the first year. We're not playing to get a state championship or be the top of our conference because we're not in a conference.
Building a
So
foundation. You're building a
right,
foundation.
foundation. And the way you do that is, by competing at a high level. So if kids know they come over here, they know they're going to play top teams every year. They're going to get to play against some of the top players in the country. And that's the platform we want to give. We don't want to run from no wreck. We want to face everything in front because, it'll build your confidence up in the long run and gives you an opportunity to say, you know what? We played the top team in the country. We was a close game. We won the game or whether we lost the game. Now it gives you the identity to say, okay, now I know what I need to work on to get better. Now I know where I'm at. So, you gain confidence from those things. And that's all we're trying to install, that you approach the game that way every time you step on the floor.
Yeah, Yo, B, we definitely got to pull up to that first home game, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We got to make it real big pause. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
I don't know. I might get there a little early so I can get lost in that building, man. I mean, that
Yeah, check it out. Yeah. And look, I spoke to my camera guy today. I was like, yo, File, we need to do like a preseason runs, go up there
God, yeah.
and kind of, give some exposure and let people know what's going on, because a lot of people don't know what's going on. They're like, and I'm telling people like, yo, bro, have y'all heard about this school? Like, and as soon as I send them the link, they'd be like, son, this is crazy. Like, yo.
Again, it's an opportunity. Like we said, it's not something that's for everybody, but for those that get those opportunities, you take advantage of them. I got another younger guard, 2027 guard, Zaire, which is from the New York City area that lives in Atlanta. He's been preparing himself and developing and getting better. This is a great opportunity for him to, showcase his talent with the type of talent that he's going to be around.
Right.
Again, like you said, our schedule is second to none. We just want to give guys the opportunity to compete at a high level every time they step on the floor. Our first road game, our first away tournament, we got Link Academy. Yeah.
Welcome to the big leagues. They're already right off the rip.
Just the team that won the
championship. Got preseason, first game, November 10th. We have Link Academy. And like I said, those are games you want to see if you battle tested. We got Blair Academy. We got Oak Hill. We got it interesting. We still got other games that we didn't circle in for the second half of the season, as you see, because, we have Cats. We got Cats Academy in the Scholastic League. We got like 7 schools in the Scholastic League that we possibly will play this year. And
awesome.
We're a non-scholastic team.
Now you know who our next guest is, right?
Yes, my guy.
Yes. So
my guy.
That's definitely somebody, you know what I'm saying, you need to put on that list, man, because definitely powerhouse New York and around the country, man. But look, we want to say, man, first of all, your coach, we're very proud for the thing that you accomplished right here, and we're gonna get assist you, because I was gonna say get behind you. That's not gonna fly right there. It's not. We were
not gonna fly with Coach.
And get the word out there, man. Just keep it going, man. And whatever we could do to assist you guys and you anyway, just let us know. I'll hit you up and let you know what days you have available, so we can come up and visit the facility, and then make it out there for that first game and do it up.
Okay, thank you, man. I appreciate that, guys.
Yeah,
No
thanks
doubt.
so much for coming on, Coach. Good luck. You're literally my spirit animal. I would have the hardest schedule I could ever create, and I love it. I love what you're doing. Keep it up, and wish you nothing but the best.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
We ain't running for the smoke, baby. We ain't running for
All
the
of it.
smoke.
No smoke.
No doubt. No doubt.
Thank you, Coach.
All right,
Anytime,
bro.
guys.
No doubt. Yeah,
Listen,
man.
you better get a GM job on that team and get in the penthouse up there, Big Cat. You better
Yo,
get on it.
they are living good. Like the recruits gonna be like, yeah, I'm living in here. Yeah, I'm coming.
I just like
Pause.
could you imagine like, you're a student, you handle your business, and then you're like, hey, I could just go downstairs and get 1,000 shots up. I mean, no excuses if you're at that place, man. Holy smokes.
None at all. None at all. And listen,
Great opportunity.
how was your visit yesterday? Did you get a chance to go up there?
I was in the building for High, man. Back to back, Jay David days. Pretty amazing though. We had a ton of fun. There was some big time college coaches in there. Got to talk to Georgia Tech about B stores. Checked in on our boy. Heard nothing but great stuff. Said he's doing amazing, kicking butt. I'm trying to think who else was up there. Cincinnati was up there. North Texas was up there. And LSU and Seton Hall, man. There was a lot of coaches in the building checking out High.
Well, the cat is already out the bag. So our next guest is definitely one of the top assistant coaches throughout the country. Is at one of the nation powerhouse programs that dominate the landscape of the country for many years now. They remain New York's #1 basketball program.
The architect, Pooh. The architect
That's a fact. That's a fact. This next guest is a huge reason for their success. Please welcome to the show, Long Island Lutheran High School assistant coach, Jay David. Coach, wake up.
I'm up.
Pause. You froze. You froze.
His phone's buzzing, Pooh. He's always busy, man.
You got out.
Oh,
I think your picture froze. You got to reboot it.
hold on one second.
All right. Yeah, man. Look, listen. It wasn't until the day or that week that I spent up at the top 100 camp, right? Because with us mostly covering, and you kind of cover everybody as well from your standpoint, but we with your last position that you had at NYC Hoops, you were covering. Hold on. He's better. Okay. We was only covering New York City teams, right? PSL and the Captain School League. And once I went down to the NBPA top 100 camp, I realized how important High really is, right? To the whole landscape of New York basketball. And just saying to myself, damn, we have one of the top programs in our backyard, and we're not doing our due diligence to promote the same way, right? And of course, me getting more of an understanding of where they placed that, because I thought once they left out of the federation, that there you go. Yeah, there you go. What happened? Keep losing them. It's perfect. So that right there, that week that I spent there, I said, you know what? This is a school we definitely have to support more, and definitely make sure that we connect with them.
Coach, you all right?
Yeah, man, there's a lot of buttons on the bottom of the screen. I'm feeling old out here, man.
That's what happens, man. Technology, man. Technology, man.
I should have called my daughter down here to help me because I'm feeling crazy on this thing right now.
That's what usually happens, man. That's what usually happens.
Yeah.
But I was talking to Big Brian, and I was like, yo, man, you know, I must say I apologize. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm gonna keep it a buck because we weren't giving y'all the same amount of coverage as we were giving the PSL and the Catholic School League, right? And you guys are our nation powerhouse that represent New York to the fullest. And I told him, I said, my time being on the NBPA top 100 committee and being down at that camp and seeing what the rest of the country is doing, it kind of opened my eyes, right? Yeah. To know, like, oh, this is what the rest of the country looks like. It's not just what's happening in the city. And big up to a few of my guys who I talk to, and it's like, yo, Pooh, once you get the idea what's happening outside of the city and the rest of the country, it'll be a good idea that, you know, you kind of get on that wave and what's going on. And I watched Dylan Mingo, like, he represented New York to the fullest.
Yeah.
Like every day, every game was just like, man, and he's in our backyard. And we listen, we started off High School Basketball Weekly with Caden, right?
Yeah.
He was our first guest, and Dad always lets me know. He said he's gonna never forget that, man. And I just feel like I said, you know what? When he comes on, I'm just gonna let him know, yo, bro. You know, from this day forward, definitely gonna show y'all the same amount of love we've been showing everybody else.
Nah, brother, I appreciate it. Number one, you know, for you saying that, that's big, but it's okay, man. We're all the way in Long Island. You know, from my house is about 45 minutes from Queens. So imagine what it is for people in Brooklyn and the East and in the Bronx and the other side of Queens. So I get it. You know, we're not in New York City. We're not in the Catholic school, the New York City Catholic School League. We're not in the PSAL. We're an independent school. And in New York, you know, that's pretty much what, like collegiates and the poly preps, like the academic schools. That's what NICES is, and that's what LUHI is. So sometimes people forget about us a little bit, but our goal is to continue to do what we do and rep the town the way that we're supposed to rep the town, and then the town love will come back some way.
I can't forget you guys because I played against you guys in the state championship in 1986. So yeah. I know, like, when I was playing, like, Dwayne Ivory was like the #1 scorer in New York State. So this is and Arnold Bernard was the point guard. Like, I know what Long Island Lutheran is about.
Yeah. The history is vast at LUHI. The history is vast.
Very, very vast, man. Very vast.
Yeah. It's honestly, it goes back far, man. We have a lot of special people come out. Bob McKillop, who coached at Davidson, who was Steph Curry's coach. Bill Wennington, Reggie Carter. Bro, I literally, Basil Eptimov, Drew Nicholas, who went to Maryland, Voss went to UNC, Fab and those guys. LUHI's been a power for a long time. There was a period of time where, you know, people could forget about it a little bit.
Yeah.
But LUHI's
my man Mike Milligan also was there.
Exactly. You know, Mike's older than us and stuff, but you know, like LUHI's been good for a very, very, very long time. And I think because people don't see us often, you know, they forget about that. And I'm happy where we are. It's been a lot of work under the tutelage of Coach Buck, and honestly, the school itself, you know, supporting us the way that they do. So I'm excited, man, for what we've been doing. I'm excited for where we are, and I'm excited for what comes next. So.
And Coach, you know, another thing too that Pooh also, you know, you actually don't realize is, you know, over the past couple of years, you've really ramped up your schedule as you've gotten in a more competitive league. You guys playing so many tournaments. You know, a few years ago, you'd have so many New York teams in the schedule. Now you guys play such a national schedule that I feel like that's definitely had an impact on you guys being around and seen more locally as you guys start to get more national. But talk about how LUHI, the school, has kind of developed, You guys have taken a lot of pride. You know, you showed me around the classrooms and other things like that. Talk about some of the outside stuff besides the program that you guys are really working on to maximize the kids and their kind of development.
Well, we're academics first. So we have three main pillars that we stand on: academics, basketball, and character. And basketball probably isn't the primary thing on that list. It may not even be the secondary thing on that list, to be quite frank.
Mhm.
But we just redid our entire academic wing, and it opened last year, which is the wing that I showed you along with the college coaches yesterday. I'm super proud of that because it allows for us to do a lot of different things. We have a STEM lab, we have a robotics team now, which is really, really good. We've expanded our sports at the school. I think we've had, as the teacher told you yesterday, I think we've had the most applications for incoming students ever in the school. That's a big time thing. Academically, we're one of the best schools in the world. I think Coach Buck's one of the greatest head of schools that we've had. We've had some really, really good ones, and obviously, I think he's the best coach in the country. But overall, I think the reason that I think Lehigh is special is because we basketball is obviously at the top, right? That everyone sees, but we really care about the person. So holistically, I think there are a lot of wonderful schools in New York. I think there are a lot of wonderful schools in the country. Holistically, what we do at Lehigh is the person, and I think that's why we've been successful. That's why we're able to navigate what's happening in the change of culture in sports in high school. Our relationships are really strong with who they're strong with. We have a standard. We execute that standard. If they do it well, we reward them. If we see something wrong, we correct it at that moment. So I think those are the things that we stand on: integrity, passion, resilience. Humility, which is a big, big one for us. So we just try to stand on those things and push forward.
Man, let's get people a little idea who Jay David is. You say you're from Queens. When did you start out coaching, and how did you connect with Luha and become,
So
the director of Jayhawks?
it's weird because I was born in Brooklyn, and then we moved to Queens, and I lived in Queens the majority of my life. My mother moved to Long Island, and by the time she was moving to Long Island, I think I did 1 year, 2 years of middle school there. It was 1 year, and I got in trouble, and they sent me upstate to military school when I was 12, 13 years old. So I was gone for about 4 or 5 years of that, right? So I wasn't here in New York. Um, in like from like 93 to like 98, right? So but when I did come back, I was living in Freeport, Long Island, on the border of Freeport and Roosevelt. So I had a lot of love there. Our athletic director Teddy Mitchell, one of my close friends Jamal, Rich Brown, these guys took me in and really looked after me. It's a rough area, right? But they looked after me, and I was a relatively rough kid. So my childhood is a mishmash of different places in New York, just because I moved around so much. With going up state to boarding school and coming home and leaving my grandmother's house in Queens to come stay with my mom for a little bit. Most of my time was spent in Queens and Queens Village growing up, which I'm really, really proud of. I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm proud of the people that helped mold me, and I'm thankful for that. So um, every day I think about that as I'm going through different things in my life, right? So that's where I'm from. I'm from Queens, born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, spent some time in Long Island, so raised there as well. So I got to shout out Long Island also. Um, in terms of the Jayhawks, my uncle was probably one of the most influential men in my life. He and my father; those are the only two men I've ever wanted to be like in my entire life. He's from Southside. My mother's from Southside. She went to Jack, actually, before it was Campus Magnet, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and she's been a doctor at Jamaica Hospital for a long period of time now. But um, that's our background, and he's the one that started the program. But he started the program, we played a lot of local stuff, and there was a lot of Southside kids that was on the program in the team, and he had some other kids that he had relationships with. I actually think Jesse Govan played with him a little bit, moving around. They would go play in left rack and different things, and Booby, Hamadou's oldest brother, he played with
Mm-hmm.
us a little bit too. That's family. So we had a really good group of young guys, and then I go to PA school, and he goes, "Hey, I think you should come and play, or come and coach with us." And um, there was so many different things. He was like, "These kids could really use your kind of support, right?" And at that time, as you guys know, it was like a lot of tension. This had to been like 15, 16 years ago, but there was a lot of tension in New York with the police and the stop and frisk and different things like that.
Yep.
And I actually got one time that happened to me. So he calls and he's like, "Hey, if that can happen to you, it can happen to any of these kids. So, you connect with people really, really well. So they'll be able to connect with you if you come back and help them coach and help me coach." So we get there, and he's run the program. Our very first team, that was really, really good, had Bryce Jones, who was at Boys and Girls. I don't know
Yep.
if you remember him.
I know. Very
Leroy.
close to mom and the
Yeah,
family. Yep.
yeah, mommy, that's my heart right there. I spoke to
Yep.
Bryce today, and stuff. He was working out with Ryan Dunn in Phoenix recently, but so we had Bryce Jones, we had Leroy Truck Flood, we had Shakur Penda, three kids from Boys and Girls, and then we had two kids from Long Island, Marcus Solomon and Neo Matakole. Marcus is now a financier, and Neo's a doctor. We had Weldon Irvine, who was from Hewlett, border Long Island and Far Rockaway area.
Mm-hmm.
And we had and Kalon, my cousin, that was my uncle's son. He was really, really good. He went to Holy Cross and then went to go play at CW Post. And we went on, man, and we thought we were really good. We did a lot of positives, and we went down to the Super Showcase. And just like you were mentioning before about being away from outside New York City, hey man, I don't know if you remember Yamka, the Memphis Boys Club. Boy, they whooped our ass. Look, it and it was, and the kids played so hard, but it opened our eyes to, like what you said, to everything else. So we came home and we said we wanted to really focus in on this program, and we did. And my uncle supported us. Uncle Andrew, I love you. He supported us all the way through, man. From jump, his own money, his own time. He had three kids of his own. My daughter had just been born. She's 16 now. So it's been a long time since we've been doing this. So, after that, we get the deal with Under Armour. Shout out to Coach Kamani and his support and pushing us forward. Salute to him. And they gave us that deal. At that point, we had Hamidou Diallo, we had Mamadou Diarra, we had Jaheim Cornwall, we had Jose Martinez, we had Jair Bolden. Like we had a brick, and we still had to learn more about what that was. Right, we went 500 in that league. The very next year, they didn't renew our contract. I had a relationship with Chris Rivers, who's at Excel Sports now. He was at Adidas for a long time. Shout out to him. And he's like, "Yo, Jay, come mess with us, man. We got this secondary circuit. I can't give you nothing right now, but come through, and do your thing, and then I got you." We come through the first year, do our thing. They don't give us the deal, but I'm like, "Cool, no problem." My uncle's like, "We got to figure this out." I'm like, "You're right." I'm like, "Let's go back one more time." But this time, we really got into the streets. We built everything from scratch, from bottom up. And we had lost a couple kids. Hamadou and I, we spoke, and he went to the Rens. Rob Diaz was a big, big, big part of our program. To this day, he's a super big mentor of mine, and he was huge for us. And then we built the program from scratch, and then we partnered with Boys and Girls Club. So that was our home gym, the one in Atlantic, over there in Richmond Hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not too far from Southside by Jamaica Hospital. So now we have all of that support and the families buying in. But we did things that was a little bit different. We went upstate. We went upstate New York to get kids. We went on to Long Island to get kids. Zion Styles, everybody knows him now because he's dunking on everybody everywhere. Andre Curbelo, Zed Key. Like, we had a bunch of that team, his freshman team went undefeated. 16U team, maybe lost like 2 or 3 games. 17U team lost in the championships. Right after that, the second year, they still didn't give us a deal. The third year is when everything changed. Everything changed because that team was full of Division I basketball players. And I'm not a big build your AAU program with only D1 guys. I think that's counterproductive, and I actually don't think it makes it a real team. But when you have these sneaker things that you have to adhere to, you need to make sure that your product is what they're expecting for it to be. So for us, what we did was we mixed our roster with D1 and D1 high major, mid major, and then some Ivy League guys, and then D3 NESCAC, right? NESCAC is the baby Ivies, Williams, Wesleyan, where my brother Munch and those guys went to school, those kind of high level academic schools. So we go into Adidas and we don't lose a game. Like we don't lose a game. Like we're playing some of their better teams, like, and we're punching them. Like we don't lose a game until New World. Actually, I remember it because they were just so much more physical than we were, and I would never forget that. They beat us by about 10 to 12 points, and then we qualified for the gold. At that time, it was gold. It was gold and silver, and then we made it to the Elite Eight of the gold. We lost to Brookwood. No, we lost the Game Elite, and I don't know if you remember that Game Elite team. That Game Elite team, um, they were like, shoot, man, they had just came from Nike. I think they were Georgia Stars, and then they came over, came elite, and Chris Williams, shout out to him and all those guys down there. So we lost to them, and then that was the end of our run there. And then they gave us a deal, and then all that other stuff happened, and then the rest is history. I ended up working for Adidas, and then fast forward to about 3 years ago, um, we separated from that, and then now we're on Made Hoops with Chad and those guys, and it's been a really high level development for us because our passion and our goal has stayed the same. So that's pretty much how the Jayhawks started, and I've always been an academic. I've never been as good as any of the guys that I've coached, and I've told them that from jump. But what I do know is I do know basketball. I was good. I just wasn't as good as them, right? Like I went to a military school. I was all New England, Class D. I was all Hudson Valley in 3 different sports, soccer, track, and basketball. I just wasn't as good as not even the coaches on my team. Dante Blaze, Teddy Mitchell was all state. Dante played Division I basketball. Shep over at Stepanak. Obviously, we all know he played professionally. So, but what I did that most people don't do is I was never scared of the work. I went to NBA scout school in Vegas with Fran Fraschilla and all those guys. I learned a lot. I went there for 2 years. My first job, Chad Babel got me a hoop group. I went and I would work, and the checks, I don't mind saying this, the checks was like 2 and change back then for 3 days of work. Mind you, I had a 4-year-old daughter, so everybody's looking at me crazy, like, why don't you just go practice medicine? But my passion, and quite frankly, what I figured out now, my ministry is basketball. So I'm learning the business through that, right? And I'm everywhere. I'm at every single camp. I'm at USA camp. I'm at everything, right? And then obviously, Coach Buck then calls me in and he says, "Hey, I've heard nothing but good things about you." Again, I think that was Oswald Cross that recommended me for that. I've had a lot of people in New York support me in ways that um, I don't think people really would understand, like Anton Marchand and Oswald Cross and Munch Williams and Kamani, and I could go on and on, even from the youngins, like shit, man, Gary and the like, just all these people that really just supported me. Kenneth Gooch, and he does a lot. There's not too many people that's as good as him in training, and man, like it's just even Joe, that's with PSA. So I'm probably forgetting some names, but ironically, I've had a lot of support, and that's why I could never like not say thank you, and I'm gonna remain as humble as I can because a lot of those people poured into me and made me who I am now. So, like I said, I think at this point now, at this level, I think there are very few that work as hard as us to get to where we are. But that's pretty much who I am. I'm an academic. I have 2 degrees. I have a biology degree and BS, and then I have an associate's in math. I've always been relatively smart. I just used to get in trouble a lot, but my parents made sure that they poured into me in a way that I would be able to at least look back and say that they gave me the structure to try to be something in this world.
No doubt. That's dope, brother.
And listen, these guys take care of you, Jay, because you're one of the good guys in basketball. You help
Thank
a
you.
lot of kids. You're 100% right. This is your path. I almost couldn't imagine covering hoops without you, honestly. But listen, over the past couple years, I've really seen Lehigh kind of take a big jump. and you've still been able to keep those type of kids that we talk about without
Hmm.
the egos, the guys that buy in. Talk about how Lehigh has kind of made that jump from a really good program to a national powerhouse and quickly into a team that could compete for the top five. Talk about that kind of jump that you guys have made, you and Coach Buck, to kind of vault the program up into that next kind of level.
Um, you know what's crazy? Because everyone sees Coach Buck and I. Um, we have a ridiculous group of guys in our gym that work with those guys, right? So I want to
Right.
start with them. Our two director of operations are two of the best in the entire country. Like our kids don't miss anything. I don't know if you ever seen us play in the EYBL, formerly the NIBC. If you ever notice, there are times that our guys are eating on the bench, or they're doing other things on the bench while they're cheering for their teammates. That's all from Coach Mike and Coach Stu. Like when we land, they go to Walmart right after we do our walkthrough. After all the kids, they're buying food and all of this stuff, and the guys have snacks. Our strength coach over at AMP, those guys are phenomenal. You see our guys like VJ put on 15, 20 pounds one year. Jaden Ross, I'm the NJ, like God's will. Eric. These guys are putting on weight. Like Jaden Reed looks like a man. He's a little shorter, but he looks like a man physically. Musa, I think, put on some weight, and he's still
Yep.
skinny. That's my guy, but he put some
Yeah.
weight on. But like those guys are really, really big. Tex, like man, Tex is a wonderful soul, and he's able to train those guys consistently throughout the day. Um, and then obviously our schedule is 4 blocks, hour and 15, and you go from school from 8:20 to 2:30. So we get a lot of work in with him, and he's with the guys and dorms, and he's phenomenal. And then Coach Josh, who went to school there, he and I actually sat down, shoot, man, I want to say about 8 years ago, and we wanted to change what the culture of the school basketball program looked like, right? So before we would have a lot of seniors on our roster and stuff, and
Yeah.
it was okay. Everybody was really, really good, and we did some things, won a state title and different things like that. But we were like, Coach Buck was like, "Hey, we got to get better at certain things." So we sat down and we said, "Hey, no seniors this year. Let's go get a couple of guys or a couple of guys that want to come to our school, and let's bring them." Right? And that was
Mhm.
Andre Curbello's freshman year. Our point guard, um, Brandon, he was the best point guard in D2. He was at Pace, right?
Jacob.
Jacobs, yep. Um, then we had Donatas Koupsis, who ended up going to Weber State. We had Isam Mustafa, right?
Yep.
Who I think Isam was a sophomore at that time. And Isam ended up being one of the best mid-major bigs in the country, right? Um, and we had a couple other guys. And we put it together. We went up to a state championship. I wasn't at that game. We got to the state championship. We were in Double A. Tiny and Lincoln beat us, actually in that game. Um, they beat us by, I think it was like, it wasn't, they beat us, period. That's it, right? So the very next year, um, we ended up adding, that year we had three very special seniors on our roster. Tyson Etienne, Frankie
Yep.
Policelli, Tyke Green,
Mm.
right? At the same time, we have Messiah Swinson, who now plays in the NFL,
Yep.
right? He was 6'8". We still had Esam,
Yep.
right? Um, and we still had Donatas.
Yes.
So we were really good that year.
Yep.
And that year we won the SNY, right? And we go to the state championship game. And I remember this vividly. We go to the state championship game, state semifinal game. It's Nices versus Catholic. And we're playing Stepanak. And they had a brick too. They had RJ Davis, they had the
Griffin.
brothers. They
Griffin.
that game had about, I want to say, 11 to 12 Division I kids, but they were babies. Most of them
Yeah.
were babies, like juniors, and then the seniors from their team and the seniors from our team. And they were beating us, came back, game is back and forth at this point. Tyke goes to steal the ball. Uh, he doesn't get it. They call foul. RJ, I think it was RJ, shoots free throws. The very next play, Esam gets an and one layup, right?
Yep.
We bring the ball in, something happens, and then we go call Coach Buck calls a timeout. He calls a timeout, and from their bench, they're like, yo, they have no more left. Right. And in the back of my head, I'm like, yo, how do you know we have no more left already? Right. But what happened was
Wow.
they during one of like it was a really hectic game. So during one of the skirmishes, they gave us the timeout that Step called. Step wins the game. But I want to say this though. It didn't come down to that because they beat us flat out. Step deserved that game. They deserved that game. They beat us, and they went on to go beat South Shore for the state championship. And I remember we protested the next day. Fine. Again, Stepanak deserved that game. They won that game. All props to them, right? And I remember leaving on the bus and saying to Coach John and Coach Josh, that will never happen to us again because we will never be in a game in New York that anyone is remotely close to us for that to happen again. And I was so mad. I had a visceral reaction to I have a visceral reaction losing now, but I was so upset. And I said, we will never lose another game in New York again, and we will win by 20 points every single game. Period. And they were like, okay. The next year, Zed comes in, right? Still had
Yeah.
Esam, Euro Sidibe, right?
Yep.
Tyler Stevenson Moore,
Yep.
right? Jalen Celestine, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
Rafael Pinzone, he was a junior. No, Rafael wasn't on that team. My bad. He wasn't on that team. And we just went out and kicked everyone's ass,
Yeah.
literally. So that was Andre's junior year. You want to know what year that was? That was Andre's junior year. We went on, we played. Christ the King had beaten us at our place the year before, earlier in the year. And they had Kofi and
Musa.
Musa.
Yeah.
We met them in the championship game. We beat them by 20 in the championship game. We didn't lose in New York the whole year. And the next year, same thing, winning everything and beating by everybody 20. And the matchup was gonna at some point it was going to be us versus Stepanak, right? We had beat Sierra Canyon. We had beat Patrick School with Jonathan Kaminga, Samson Johnson, Adama Sonogo, and then we beat Albany Academy, who was really good. Had a kid going to Purdue, another one in the NBA, Andre Jackson. He's in the NBA right now. A kid that was at Purdue, and we beat them at the buzzer. Andre hit that shot.
That was the best game I've ever seen
One of the
live in
best
my.
games one of the best games I've ever been a part of. Legitimately one of the best games I've ever been a part of. I think there were 23 threes hitting that game between both teams.
Wow.
And it was amazing. So the Monday, so remember, so now that game is over. We have 3 weeks to the state championship. That was the COVID year. That
Yeah.
state championship was supposed to be Stepanak versus Lehigh,
Yep.
right? That's what it was supposed to be. And it never happened. They
Happens the
graduated.
next year. It happens the next year, though.
Yes, it happens the next year that they allowed states to happen. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember that one too. That was very memorable. But I give you all of that so you can understand like those guys are the ones that set up this next piece,
Yeah.
right? So the NIBC comes to us, they would call EYBO's NIBC at the time. They come to us to speak to myself and Coach John, make the decision to go. And I remember this, and we're in the room, and he goes, "Hey, I know it's going to be very difficult for you guys next year, but we believe in you." And I look at him, and we were in Coach Buck's office. I said, "It won't be." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "It will not be, because we have a balance. We have a foundation of who we are, and we're going to be just fine." VJ Edgecombe comes in, Jaden Ross and his brother Jacob come in, Amdi Njai 6'10" come in, Goswell Arian 6'9" at Seton Hall, he comes in. So that's UConn, Pitt, NBA, Northeastern, and Seton Hall. right? All those guys come into the school at this point, right? I'm almost positive I'm missing somebody right now too. Um, and we go out, we go to Montverde, we go 1-1. We lose to Montverde by 3 at Montverde with that group. We go on to win a bunch of games, lose to Wasatch in Hoop Hall West. And the guys came in the locker room, that group came in the locker room crying after that game. It was a regular season game. We lost by 1, but they were crying. We go off to wheel off 18 wins in a row. We're co-champions in the league, right? Second to Montverde. And then go to Chipotle, where we lose at the buzzer to Compass, to Arizona Compass. And then and we never looked back at that time. That group, VJ and those guys are the ones that took us and put us where we're supposed to be. Jaden Ross, Jaden Reed, VJ, Amdi, GW, all of you guys, Jacob. I'm thankful for all of you. We are thankful for all of you because they got us to where we needed to be. And what you see now is a product of changing the culture 8 years ago, right? 8 or 9 years ago, and then bringing in guys that stood for what Luhai stood for, and then continuously being able to stay above board and do the same thing.
Man, what an incredible story, man. I know when I started Basketball Heads and was covering high school, went up to the States, got invited up there, and got to see that game between you guys and Stepping That. It was just crazy because I've been to the States up at Glen Falls, so it was it was confusing to me that they had all these different sites. And I saw the right ones on the wall. I was like, this is the beginning of the end.
That's
of
because
the Federation.
COVID is. So remember, they were supposed to move it to Fordham, but then because of COVID, Fordham being a private school wouldn't let anybody on campus for that number of people. So that's how they ended up back upstate. Quite frankly, should always be down here anyway, because 3 of the 4 representatives are from downstate. So it should have never been upstate, right?
That's always been the fight.
Exactly. Our overall governing body in the state is NYPS, the New York State Public School, not New York City Public School, New York State Public School when you go to NFHS. So obviously it was up there, but it should be no reason. It should be down here. There's 3 teams from every single division, right? That were from down here. But also, I mean, that game was packed, man. Our girls and us won that state championship that year. That was those guys' junior year. And I remember, obviously, Coach Shep and I are really close. We had dinner on the Sunday before because we would not speak to each other for a whole week until after the game, right? So those guys are my guys, man. Stepinac, they do a wonderful job, and the only time I'm not rooting for them is when we play them, and when we play them, Pat, it's on time. So that's it.
I was, we talked about this last year. Brian and I was like, "Yo, that's the game we wanted to see." Like, it's like, "Yo, what?" So with the Stepinac and Luha game, and to keep that kind of tradition going because of the collapse of the Federation. Now, rumor was that the Federation didn't want you guys to keep repeating the wins, so they kind of collapsed the whole thing. It was like, losers, we're just going to collapse this because Luha's going to win it every year. Did you hear about that? Did you hear about that rumor that was circulating?
The state has been good to us. Honestly, man, I don't know. Like, we're a regular high school. We are a regular high school. Like, there's no difference between us and any other private school in New York State. Legitimately, there isn't. We might be better academically than some, worse academically than some. You know what I mean? But there is no difference in us and any other high school. The state's been phenomenal for us. We're thankful for them, and I think obviously not having the state championship, the overall federation state championship it's been sad. But we got to understand that a lot of things had to change after COVID.
Yeah.
Granted, we won a lot. We were really, really good, and we follow the rules the way we're supposed to. But COVID is the reason that they can't have the state tournament anymore. There was a lot of money, that and programs that changed from the public schools and states, and funding that was redirected, and I feel bad because there's a lot of people that want to play those games. But in terms of the rumor with State, they've always been good to us. So I don't know. I doubt that they would have canceled the whole thing because of us. But it's cool for you to say.
Hey man,
So,
go figure.
so
Yeah.
Coach, I'm dying to know now. You've let me see some inside information. Obviously, I was at Open Gym.
Yeah.
I want all of our people to know. You lose Caden Mingo,
Yeah.
Nigel James, Cayenne, Nico, and
Hmm.
MJ Madison decides to transfer. So what
Hmm.
does Lehigh do? Right? How can Lehigh be good next year? Now I know you got Dylan Mingo and Pooh
Yeah.
brought up Moose. But who are
Yeah.
some of the other guys who are going to be big time players for Lehigh coming up this season? Because there were some really big time players at Open Gym, and you guys look exciting once again.
I want to start by saying I miss all of those guys, man.
I know, me too.
Like our relationships. Caden and I have always been super close because his brother Dalik played with us. Caden and Dylan, Dalik played with us. That family's really close to us.
Who's
Um,
guy, man?
yeah, you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
yeah, yeah. That's a
And,
fact.
MJ Madison, him transferring, that was tough, right? That was really tough for Coach Buck. Really, really tough emotionally. We love that kid. He's a great kid. He's going to do really well at Prolific, right? NJ, Nigel James, is honestly one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life outside of
That's a
outside of
fact.
PJ Edgecombe and Jaden Reed, right? Um,
Yeah.
but he just competed so hard. And Cayenne, man, like, boy, he's a different animal, man. Like, I think people get it confused because of who his dad is, and he's a killer, bro. Like, and you not stopping him. Like, you not. Like, no matter what you try to do, if he gets in his groove and he gets a ladder going, you're in trouble. Everybody got to grow, but that kid is a problem. And then obviously Caden, the people's champ, man. Like, the people's champ for real. Like, he's a warrior. So when you lose that type of stuff and you lose four guards that average double figures, you lose a 7-footer who can shoot threes and block shots and roll to the basket. Um, you're in a space where you're like, what do I do next? Right? What do we do? You could have just laid down and go from there, but that's not how we're built. Our reputation stands, our standard stands, as I mentioned earlier. We set a standard. If they do it, we reward them. If there's something wrong, we fix it right there, right then and there. We have families that believe in us. We have AAU programs that believe in us. Our relationships are very, very strong. So what we did was we just hit the ground running. Coach Buck rededicated what we were doing and what the staff was doing in terms of getting out and seeing a lot of guys. Probably spent most of my time at the EYBL over the summer outside of the Jayhawk stuff with Made Hoops. Blessed to them, and we were able to be blessed. TJ Crumble from Lutheran East in Ohio. He's one of the best bigs in the country. Kind of fell off on the radar a little bit because he was sick the last period, last live period, but he was getting recruited by Stanford, Michigan. Any of these schools that you could possibly think of, he was getting recruited by those schools, and now we're lucky enough to have him at Lehigh. Caden Allen is one of the best scorers in the entire country. He was at Montverde with Coach Boyle. He ended up transferring. A friend of mine calls and goes, "Hey, I think he's moving." I said, "Okay, no problem." Um, that's another Queens thing, and I won't put his name out there, but he knows who he is. So, I appreciate you. So he gets here, and then Jamal McKnight, his father and I are cool, and I saw him playing during one of the early preseason events, and I'm like,
That
this kid gives
kid.
me, yeah,
Woo.
he gives me Jaden Reed vibes. So, he ends up coming. To be quite frank, Christian Proctor. I saw him. He was actually someone that we thought about last year. He was a freshman, and I had another friend of mine, really, really close friend of mine, NBA guy. He's like, "Yo, this kid could really get to it," and he ends up coming to Lehigh and stuff like that. And then, obviously, we returned Omar, the 7 feet, shoot some threes, and then we returned Musa, 6'8", top 10 in the country, PSA Cardinals, Dylan Mingo. Um, Top two players in the country, but he shouldn't be two in my mind. And then we return max tops 50, 60 play in the class of 28 at 6'8". And then you add, some big time kids, like, you add 6'11", Ike Davids from the Great Britain, NBA Australia after they closed. He's fast, athletic, looking to block shots, really high level kid. He got a perfect score on the the entrance exam. Kid's extremely intelligent and talented. Then we have Carr Tolman, who, man, Brian will tell you, he's a different animal. 6'9", 3'4", can guard the three, can guard the two, can play 3, 4, 5. And we have a lot of length on this roster. We also have Henry Beckett, who's a legacy at Long Island Lutheran. His father, who I don't know if you remember, played at Hofstra. He was at Lou High as well. Right.
Yeah.
We Miles Duckett from Connecticut, Country Day. We got Peyton, who's from Baldwin. Our roster is full of high level guys with character and integrity, and that's what we do to combat when you lose those type of players. You go out and you find guys that fit Lou High's culture first, and then the basketball second.
Yeah, I was scrolling on your page and checking out a lot of your posts and things of that nature. Just ran across a few, and then just hearing you speak and talk about integrity, speaking about being a good person, a student athlete. And one of the posts I saw that you said a builder of men, right?
Yeah.
How important is that for you and your program and your stance on building, taking these guys from being, teenagers to men so they could go out there into the real world and fend for themselves?
I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, a lot. From girlfriend or fiancés, girlfriend to issues with. I raised my daughter on my own, so that's tough, right? Um, Transitioning from careers, from medicine to sports. But I've also had a lot of success in my life, right? Because of the support system that I mentioned earlier. Um, Through all those mistakes, God has never really left my side. And I'm able to pour into my work. And what I realized was, if I can stop or help these young men and women, predominantly men, because that's where we're at, if I can help them from making the same mistakes that I made, then they would have a much better life. If I can help my daughter see me be transparent with her on those mistakes that I've made, then she could be a smarter, better young lady, right? And that's why I said basketball is my ministry, because this is where I could come and make a difference. Obviously, I've done a lot in this space, right, with awards and business and the type of things that we've done at the highest level. But quite frankly, this is where I'm supposed to be in basketball, in this place, so I can help people grow and not make the same mistakes I make. I'm still growing, still making mistakes, but I want to be the best that I could be every single day. And if I could be that every single day, then I could help those young men be the absolute best, because I connect with them. They connect with me. And it allows for them to understand and have a conversation about those mistakes, so they don't end up in a space that I didn't want to be.
No doubt. No doubt.
Now, Coach, I know I always break your chops, and I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot, like I always like to put a little pressure on Coach David. But, I think you're a rising, not a rising star. I think you're an absolute superstar in the space. I
Thank you.
think you really know how to help construct a team. I think you're one of the best builders I've seen, as I see all these guys change places and things like that. Your retention has been fantastic. Now, I know you've gotten some pressure in the past. Obviously, you mentioned your daughter's older. Is there any itch that you could potentially, if it would be perfect, potentially find something at the next level?
That's a good question. But my feet have to be where they are right now, which
Mm-hmm.
is present at Long Island Lutheran and present as Juliana Elizabeth Davis' dad, right? Those are my two most pressing things for me to be great at right now. Ironically, Coach Buck and I talk about this often. Even when I'm talking to parents and stuff, and he always says the word "yet" in regards to what my career will be or can be later. He's one of my biggest supporters, along with the rest of the guys at the school. But I will tell you this: these opportunities and the blessings that have come from basketball um, have been vast. This is a wonderful, wonderful job in a very difficult business, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the opportunities, when they come, have to be assessed appropriately for what they can do for myself, for my family, and honestly, for what they can do for Lehigh, right?
Yeah.
And the Jayhawks program. So again, I thank you for that, and God willing, the opportunities continue to come. Until they come, my feet will be firmly planted here in Queens and in Brookville Road. And God willing, those opportunities come, and I can make a decision that will impact everyone positively that's around me.
What a
No doubt.
professional answer, huh, Pooh?
Always. He tap dances very well. You know what I'm saying? he, he's a professional to the highest level.
Of
Hey,
course,
hey,
man.
hey, Jay, what is
Yeah.
that water? Because you see, I'm a glass bottle
Oh,
drinker too, man.
all right.
I sound
So
like we
I'm a,
get promoted by them, but I just would like to see because I never saw that brand.
All right, check this out. So I'm gonna give you a plug right now. The program gym just opened on Tuesday.
Yes.
Shout out to Griff. He put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into opening that gym. So I was, lucky enough to be able to help him with that that day.
We,
Lou,
we didn't get an invite,
I
but
don't know.
that's
Listen,
another thing. That's another. Don't worry about it. Don't worry
I
about
would
it.
love for you guys to come and see the gym. It was a little different. Fire marshals can't have everyone in New York City there, but we
No,
would
and
love
it's
to.
all love.
Yeah,
We appreciate what they're doing for
but
the city.
he has so many different sponsorships, and this one is from a company called Happier Grocery. And this water is really good. I don't know where it's from, but this is it. This water is great. My boy, aside from this water, I've been drinking a lot of chlorophyll water also.
Uh-huh.
I get that
Yes.
from Whole Foods or Wegmans. So I'm trying to stay healthy. You get a little bit older, you got to keep the health going.
Listen, that's all I do. So when I saw the different one, I was like, yeah, I need to
You
check
you
that
look
out,
you
man.
look younger than me. Don't worry about it. You good to go.
No doubt. What was one of your proudest moments being at Luha?
Shit,
I know
man.
there are many, but like, what was the one that that kind of sticks out to you?
You know what's crazy? Like you said, there's a lot. Winning that first state title was a big one, man. It was a big one because as good as we've always been, we get all these excuses on why we're good or why we can't be good. You know what I'm saying? Because like we said, nobody sees us and stuff like that. So for us to be able to come in there and dominate it the way we did, that was important, man. And it felt vindicating almost, right? That we were able to actually go ahead and do that. And then, quite frankly, honestly, every single time I watch these kids graduate, sometimes I can't go to graduation because it's a lot of tears, you know. Um, but when I could see them graduate and see them become better, like that's really what it was for me. Like I'll go see my guys and remember these kids they're children, 16,
Hmm.
15, 17 years old, but they just happen to be 6'8", 7 feet. And we forget that. They'll run and jump in your arms like they children, like I think that's really it, watching them smile like that. But if it was a moment, I would say that moment was when we won that first state championship. And the second one was that junior year with VJ, Jaden, and all those guys when we played in the Jordan Brand Classic at Gauchos. And Chad knows this. We talk about it. We laugh. We're from New York, but we wore away jerseys. They gave us the away jersey,
I remember
right?
that.
You know what I'm saying? And we were playing Emotep, and brother Andre has always been good to me. He was one of those guys that I met at Hoop Group,
Mm.
and that moment just felt like, yo, yeah, I hope you understand that we're here and we're here to stay. When VJ put homeboy in the rim, that was big.
Oh,
Um, Jaden Reed grew up in Gaucho's gym. That's his. He hit a shot. He turned around, looked at me. He's like, "Yo, Jay, this is mine. This is my spot. What are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so when the kids get that energy, that's really what gets me. You know what I'm saying? Gets me going. Like watching them, that's what gets me going.
yeah, those are some great times. I'm gonna ask you
Yeah,
two little quick things. I
yeah.
want I want a good VJ Edgecombe funny story, quick little story, and then tell us why. Because I'm with you, and I saw when you had that roster, you had a little thing next to Dylan, and I said, man, that's not as high as Made Hoops got him. Tell us why Dylan Mingo is the best player in the country in 2026.
Because he does it on both sides, and like,
I
listen,
agree.
man, I'm gonna tell you. I think the guys that do the rankings, they work hard, and it's a lot to do because you got to travel from this circuit to that circuit to this circuit. So the ranking stuff is subjective, and I'm biased, but I'm a basketball person, and he does it on both sides. I don't believe in like strictly looking at somebody and saying, "Yo, he's number one because of his potential."
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm big on, okay,
production.
cool, he's number one, but what is he doing right now?
Yeah,
Right?
That's where I'm at. That's a fact.
correct.
So it's a two-part thing for me. What's he doing right now, and how much room does he have to grow? You feel what I'm saying? That's why certain guys are the ones, and they get later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
VJ's Essential was later.
yeah.
Dylan's was later because they still have room to grow. You guys know that Dylan's still only 16 years old.
No, he's a baby.
Yes,
He don't turn
definitely.
17 until October. What are we
Yep,
talking about, guys? He's like
crazy.
he's 16.
And he
And
gets to the line like about 10 times a game,
that's
like which
because
a lot of people don't even realize and don't even think about.
now he's 6'6" and his shoulders is out here, and now
Crazy.
you got to deal with him. And he doesn't even have his grown man strength yet.
That's a fact.
He's number one in the country. I respect everybody. I'm riding with my fella. He's number one in the country. There's a ton of VJ Edgecombe funny stories because he has a ridiculous amount of personality. His family is dope people. He's a dope ass kid. But there's so many of them, I can't just pick one. He's just a phenomenal young man, and he deserves everything that he's getting right now. Um, and I'm thankful for that group, man. You have no idea. I'm thankful for everything that's around us. I'm thankful for y'all, and I hope that people are able to really appreciate what Long Island Lutheran does to hold New York down. Because no matter what happens, right? No matter what happens, when we go out of town, it still says New York.
That's a fact.
That's right, baby.
It still says New York, and they still got to respect us. You know what I'm saying? And that's it.
That's why I wanted to lead off the episode with you saying what I said.
Yeah,
So,
appreciate you.
nah, for sure, man. I definitely respect everything that you guys are doing and have done in the past and doing for our state right now. My coach is Bobby Harstein,
Yep,
and you know I come from a line of great coaches, and we talk about those things, right? Making sure that you represent all of New York, and kind of remind me like, yo, you played against them in 1986, so they got to be added to the equation.
yeah,
And look, we're glad that you came on, man. We learned a lot about you.
appreciate
Definitely learned more about the school, and definitely going to be seeing a lot more of Luha on the Basketball Heads page from this point on, man. Because I think not only well deserved, but it's a must that we must show your guys love. High School Basketball Weekly always going to represent for you guys.
Yeah, pull up, man. We got some things in store too. We got the Bob McKillop Lehigh Invitational, which would be big time. I think Wasatch is here for that, and a couple other really high level teams. We're gonna have a combine probably coming up soon. Coach Buck, is still building out what our preseason looks like, and some open practices and open exhibitions and different things like that. But you guys definitely got to come down, man.
No,
I think
we gonna
yeah,
pull up. I'm bring my cameraman. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? We gonna do it right for you guys this year, man.
Bring your popcorn too when you come.
No doubt, no doubt,
Bring
no doubt.
bring
It's
your
always going.
popcorn.
It's always going to be a movie.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you too, man, because when I first came out there for that Eagle game, you made sure I was straight.
Always, man, always.
And it was dope, a dope situation, man. So you definitely gonna be seeing more of. I know B is always out there, man, but definitely see more of me out there.
Pull up, man. We can't wait to have you. Obviously, this is dope, and hopefully represented the school the right way, and hopefully we continue to represent New York the right way. And basketball heads, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. Thank you for picking up the mantle along with some other ones. Real Scout and all of these other guys are doing a phenomenal job just covering what New York is. And that's it, man. We still in Mecca. We got some stuff that's a little bit different than it was back in the day, but it's still our place, and that's it.
That's right. So when we ready to have our first player, we definitely gonna have Dylan on and show him some love and continue the tradition
Yes,
that
sir.
way.
Yes,
that
sir.
part. All right.
Appreciate you, King.
My brother.
Blessed. Brian,
Thanks,
be good, big
Coach.
dog. All right, y'all, easy.
Peace.
I got to tell you, man, one of the best guys in hoops. He supported me so much. He's been such a good guy. And, just to have him on was so awesome. And like I said, he's a star. He's helped out so many kids. And I cannot wait for you to get down there to check out their open run because they might even be better than freaking last year somehow. I say it every year. They
Yeah.
are loaded, dude. I cannot wait for you to see this kid from Estonia. Jamal Knight, Proctor. I'm already writing a
Yeah, I
story.
seen Jamal. I seen Jamal in summer, definitely. And I met him as well.
Reminds me of you. I mean, it's crazy. They are so good. I cannot wait for you to
Wow.
see that.
Hey, listen, we would like to thank our first guest that we had on here, my guy, Andre Faison, Coach Faison. He stayed on the whole time watching. Salute to you, Dre, and everything that you got going on. Salute to Coach Jay David and the whole Luha, coaching staff and team, man. Can't wait to come up there, Dre, and check you guys out. Look, Coach, another dope episode, man. High School Basketball Weekly, baby.
I appreciate you, my man, setting it all up. You're the brains, you're everything, and I just hope we can continue it rolling. I appreciate being a part of it.
Ain't no hope, baby. We here forever, baby. High School Basketball Weekly, baby. You know what it is. Basketball heads. We out.
Peace.
Peace.